there's some speculation whenever you enter a long-term contract. There's speculation that if it's an elite player, he's going to remain elite throughout that contract. There's that rolling the dice, cross your fingers, hope he doesn't get hurt. In the case of the Ottawa Senators, this is about building some sort of good rapport with your fan base and show them, hey, you know all those guys who left? That's the end of this. So signing Thomas Chabot to an 8-year, $64 million contract is a huge risk, and it is. But it's also a risk the Senators feel they have to take. Now, in signing him to an 8-year contract, that's longer than a lot of the recent RFAs that have been getting signed this summer have been taking. And I think there's something to be said for signing a guy earlier. One thing that can be said when you look at the restricted free agents that got signed this summer, the ones who were expired, is that if we had got them signed last summer, odds are all of them would have signed for less money and probably more term. And that includes Marner, that includes Besser. You probably get them for more money with less term. So, or with more term and less money. Less money, more term. So what the Senators are doing seems to be the smart thing to do. But $8 million a year for Chabot, that is absolutely a risk. This kicks in next summer, and it shows that what Eugene Melnick's been saying publicly and what the Senators have been preaching, and right now they're having a press conference with Pierre Dorion and Chabot. Hey, the Senators are giving any press conference they can that's a good press conference. That's been going on this summer. Anytime they sign somebody, anytime they make a trade, they'll have a press conference to talk about how great this is for the team, and they're really selling hope for the future. That risk is still there. The risk that Chabot had a really good year last year, and what if he has a setback? What if he turns out to be a good number 3 or number 4 defenseman, but he doesn't turn out to be a good 1 or a 2? And I know, all indications are he's going to be great, but we are now in the speculating market where it's, well, he should be a great player, so we're going to sign him to this nice long-term deal. We'll see how it turns out. The Ottawa Senators, this is their second long-term deal they've given out this summer, and we'll see. There's a lot of we'll see going on with the Senators right now. The one question, I asked myself this with Vancouver as well, and it's a question right now that you have to ask of the Toronto Maple Leafs. We are now in a situation where you're going to be building your team around a young core. You're going to be building your team around that young core and paying them handsomely enough that it'll be difficult to put a team on the ice that's going to, have that sort of staying power and the depth to survive 4 rounds of playoffs and potentially win a Stanley Cup. Where the question has to get asked, and it's an impossible question to answer, is the core that's been assembled by that team good enough to become a Stanley Cup champion at some point? And it's a question that we're asking of the Toronto Maple Leafs, but there are other teams in the league that question's going to get asked about. And 2-3 years down the road, it could very well be Ottawa we're looking at and saying, all right, so they've got Tkachuk, he's locked down, they've got White locked down, they've got Chabot locked down, and name off whoever else they sign between now and then and say, but is that core good enough? Because with all these long-term big money contracts, they're not going to be able to go out and get what Toronto had with the Patrick Marleau, that kind of thing. And that's where things get interesting, and I'd be interested to know what you guys think, because the market has completely changed. This is a second contract that I would say that if Chabot was on the unrestricted free agent market, would be close to what he'd end up getting. $8 million a year is a healthy, steep sum for a guy coming off of one really good year. But let me know what you guys think. If you're a Sens fan, does this make you more excited? Does this make the Senators more legitimate and more... does this kind of erase that ill will that the fans may have had with the team as a result of everybody getting sold off over the last, I'll say, 16 months? Or 12 months, I get mostly. Or is it going to take more than this? Does there need to be results on the ice? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video, And Chabot, he is going to be a Senator for a long time to come. Let me know your thoughts on that. I'll talk to you again soon.